Was it a foregone conclusion that you would be offered a permanent seat?
Rob was very honest with me from the very beginning. He expressed what his desire was and his intentions were. He said, you know, I would love ultimately to have you back. I don't know in what exact capacity, but this character has brought something very interesting to the show, and we'd like to, you know, workshop some possibilities. So they didn't know if SG1 would continue in it as an entity, and so they said, you know, if we did some sort of spin-off, would you be interested in working with some of the existing cast if they were interested in coming back? So I knew he wasn't just you know, blowing smoke. He was wanting to make sure that I wasn't, you know, scattering off somewhere to work on something else, and wanted me to understand that he really did want to employ me again. And you know, luckily Sci-Fi Channel, because with my previous experience, some things just don't get renewed. You can't count on it. They were renewed for not only, you know, well, they've been renewed for season 10, so that made it possible for them. They wanted to bring me back again, potentially permanently in season 9, but I had my own personal reasons for not being able to join the show permanently, and now we've relocated to do this for the season, and it was nice to give it a trial run to experience Vancouver and the show on a more permanent basis, and see if I could still find my smile with the insane hours I was doing last year. And I rang the producers the other day and thanked them for everything they're doing to help us acclimatise, or as you guys say, acclimate, I think, because they really are a very soft place to land. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about Vala in season 10. She's in a new situation following her experience being trapped in the Ori galaxy for so many months. Now, in the beginning of the season, the birth of her child certainly, I would think, would add a very serious quality to the character. Tell us a little bit about playing a more serious Vala versus keeping her the funny, snarky character that we've come to love.
I think what's been established about Vala is the fact that she's not good about talking about trauma.
Yeah.
You know, she's in denial. Yeah, she tends to sublimate things. It's a coping mechanism, and I think that's what, at the same time, makes her entertaining, irritating, but also very vulnerable. You know, I think you start to see the chinks in her armor when Daniel will try and bring something up with her, and she'll make a joke. And I think that every time someone, you know, they peel off a layer, and someone gets a little bit closer to revealing a vulnerability of hers, she'll have to end it with a joke, and I think that will just become an accepted aspect of her personality. They'll either tolerate it or they'll, you know, I think they've realised they can't change her, and if she's useful, then maybe she'll have a little bit of, you know, she'll be able to stay a little bit longer at Stargate Command, but until she can prove herself, and that's really her journey, I think, at the beginning of season 10, certainly, is to prove that she is willing, able, qualified in some ways, and interestingly enough, able to do things that they can't in a military environment. They're not able to do. She's a renegade who can do all sorts of things on their behalf. And since the Ori are such a dangerous enemy who don't play by the rules, they're probably going to need someone on their side who can infiltrate in ways they can't.
Interesting.
That's a big looming question right now, is with the sort of rogue character that Vala is, how are the writers going to get her onto SG1?
I think it's part of what makes her interesting and continuously vulnerable, is the fact that it's never belonged anywhere. And if she is going to be at Stargate Command, it's going to be on a short rope. So, I think they haven't established 9 seasons of a show that are the most successful Navy, Air Force covert operation to employ someone that they think is going to, compromise them extensively. So they definitely are going to keep her on a short rope.
The producers have already indicated that Vala's daughter, Adria, will be a driving force in season 10. How would you describe Vala's relationship with this very unusual offspring?
Vala has a lot of things happen to her in a very short space of time, and she is chameleon-like. It's the very way she's able to survive. But I think, as you say, I mean, you did say earlier, there is a more serious side to her, or inexorably she will become more serious because of the things that have been happening to her. She's actually, in a strange way, quite level-headed. So even though she may develop an emotional attachment to certain people, I think she sees that there are priorities. Hers may be different to other people's at any given time, but she's quite honest about them. I mean, she's always been out for her own gain, and we do start to see a slight change in her. She's wanting to risk her life for other reasons other than her own personal gain. And I think what I thought was really interesting last year was her relationship with her husband, because she really genuinely likes him, and she makes several efforts to save him, and he's almost beyond saving. He's pretty much been indoctrinated, and it's a really interesting, their dynamic is really interesting, because he clearly loves her, and whether she loves him or not, I don't know, but she certainly genuinely cares for him, and it's nice to see that side of her, I think, come out. So when with Adria, I think Vala instantly, I think that sort of experience has to change you forever. She's not allowed much contact with her, so it's creates interesting conflict. I'll be interested to see where that goes and how that relationship develops. And I think it's a very cool way, plot-wise, for them to involve Vala in the storylines, because she's spawned something quintessentially evil that's going to come and bite Earth's butt. So,
what about Toman's involvement?
Toman, that's yet to be revealed, actually. We will see him again. We do see him again in season 10.